Hello everyone, my name is Jared Anderson. I'm one of the adjunct professors that works in the visual communications program, and I was approached by some of the people that were helping everybody onboard their classes to an online environment, and they asked me to do a tutorial for how to get quickly set up using a tool called OBS Studio. It is free, it's available to everybody. All you have to do is download and access it. And I have the website pulled up right now. You should be able to see it on screen. The website is obsproject.com, and this is what you'll see whenever you pull up the website. Just download whichever version that you would need using these three buttons, and click whichever button. I have a Windows, so I'm going to click Windows here. It'll automatically start downloading it, and you should see it in your downloads folder. Just run the executable and install the program, and it'll install itself and do everything that it needs to. Now, one thing I will say about this program is, depending on where you install it, that is where by default it is going to save your recordings. So if you want to have your recordings go to an external hard drive, make sure you install it either on that external hard drive, or I'll show y'all how to choose where your files will get saved whenever you record them. So with that, once you have it installed and actually run the program, it'll open up to an interface that looks like this. And by itself, there's not a lot going on by default. It doesn't really do much. And actually down here in the scenes, you won't have anything if this is your first time running the program. So let me clarify a couple of things about how to use this software so that way you'll understand what I'm talking about. So the most important thing that you need to understand is the difference between scenes and sources. So a scene is where an entire group of sources are housed. So a scene could encompass multiple different parts of what you are actually trying to record, which could be things like PowerPoint slides, videos, webcam, your audio. All of that is a source, and those are all housed in a scene. So you probably only need to make one default scene. You can create a scene by hitting this plus button down here, and then if you ever need to delete a scene, you can also remove it with this minus button. But once you create a scene, to activate it, all you have to do is click it. And if you have multiple scenes, you can actually swap between them. So if you wanted to create a whole bunch of scenes of different visual elements or swap between them, kind of like you would see with like a PowerPoint, you would do that with scenes, and then you would just click between each one, and it'll actually crossfade between the two elements. To add a source to a scene, you have to have that scene active, and then just like in the scenes, you hit this plus button, and it'll ask you what type of source you want to actually create. So if you were using something like a webcam, you would do either media source or display capture. Or a video capture device would also potentially work for this. If you were wanting to do screen capture, and that's what I'll show for this demonstration, if you were going to be doing any web browsing, you could do web capture, and you could just capture that window. So that way you aren't getting multiple elements overlapping each other. You will only capture specifically that window. It's really handy if you have like extra notes or other things that are on your desktop. If you're on like a single monitor setup, that'll allow you to just record that one element. But for screen capture, I'm going to use this display capture. So we're going to create new, and then I'm going to just call this desktop capture. And then we want to make sure that we have make source visible activated. So now you can see what it's going to do is it's going to create this, because I'm recording on my primary monitor, it's going to create this infinite loop look. That's fine. We'll fix that in a moment. But we're going to tell it which display we want to capture. This is only accessible if you have a multi-monitor setup. So you can see here I have two monitors and it's detecting both of them. So if I wanted to record my other monitor, I have that option to do so. But I'm going to keep it on display 1. And then if you want to turn off your cursor, you can see now that I'm no longer getting the mouse in the recording elements off that are being recorded. So you can toggle that on and off very, very easily. So with that, now my desktop is being captured, and everything that is happening on this monitor is now being recorded. Let's say I just wanted to have a static image, or if I wanted to do an image slideshow, this would work for something like PowerPoint. So I'm going to do create new image. Okay. So if you hit browse, you can go and find any image that's on your computer. And I've got something in downloads, this classroom image. And so now you can see this is a preview of it. I hit OK, and now it's been added to my scene. So you can see now that we're getting multiple layering effect in our sources. So you have to remember with sources that it's going to act like layers. So the element that's on top, the highest in that hierarchy, is always going to be in the front of your video view. So you can click and drag to layer these, and you can see now that that image has disappeared because this one is completely covering it. So layering your scene is going to be very important to make sure that you are actually getting the visuals that you want. And all of this is updated in real time, so you'll be able to see what you're actually recording. And then here's a little bit of extra information. You can actually rescale all of the elements that you actually import into your view. So you can see like this one isn't by default big enough to actually cover the entire screen. So by left clicking it, you can activate these border boundaries, and then I can adjust the size of it to whichever one I want, and it can actually go over the bounds of the scene. So you can see that it's actually going a little bit over. Another little handy trick is if you want to crop an image, so you want to change the size of it, but you don't want to change the resolution of it, you can hold Alt and then click and drag, and you'll see you'll get this green bar. That means you're cropping the image. So that way you're cutting some of that image off and rescaling it without actually changing the entire scale of the image. And that's a handy thing to be able to control elements or change the size of elements. And with that, there's only one more element I do need to show y'all, and that's how to set up the audio capture. So I know some of y'all may want to use videos from like YouTube that you could actually include in lectures in this, or if you have some downloaded video, you can actually import it directly into OBS and have it as a part of your recording. So to do that, we're going to go back to our add new sources. And then at that point, you would, if you're wanting to import a video, you'll use media source, and it functions exactly as image. You just browse for where that media source is and you'll import it in. If you are wanting to do audio, and this is something I need to clarify actually, is if you're going to use a display capture, it's going to automatically add a desktop audio. So any audio that will play through like your speakers or whatever your default audio device is, it'll show up here in your audio mixer. So you'll be able to see the audio levels. You can grab this slider to adjust the volume if you need to, and that will be in your recording. So I'm going to go ahead and select audio input capture. And you can see, because I'm recording this right now, I have a couple of existing sources, but this one I'll just put microphone 1, add new source, hit OK. But this you'll see that this device default is going to automatically select whatever your operating system default recording device is. That's it. That's in your system settings. You can change that, however. So like right now I'm using my USB audio codec. That's where my microphone is currently getting routed through, and I have a couple of other microphones plugged in right now. But you can select specifically which microphone you want to record and not use whatever the default is. So once you have your microphone selected, hit OK, and you'll see now that I'm getting my audio levels here down in the mixer. So I'm not recording this right now, so y'all shouldn't be hearing a duplicate effect. But you can see that my voice in real time is adjusting the volume mixer, and it's actually recording my voice. or it's picking up my voice, not recording. I haven't activated recording yet. So with that, this should get you set up to where they'll be able to see whatever you want to put into your sources and scenes. If you want to have multiple slides of your video lecture, you can create multiple scenes, and I'll actually do that real quick. So I'll make this scene 2, and you saw how it just slowly faded from one to the other. And all you have to do is click between them. So you could have multiple sets of a presentation already prepared, and then you can just click between them, or you can use the up and down arrow keys to just quickly scroll through them whenever you have OBS selected as your window. And that'll allow you to record a presentation very easily for your students. So the last thing I need to show y'all is how do you actually start recording. It's very, very simple. All you have to do is down here in the bottom right, you have several different modes. You can actually live stream with this software, and if people are interested, let me know and I can show how to get set up for live streaming with OBS. But for this video, we're going to stick with recording. All you have to do is come down here, right below start streaming, and hit start recording. And then it's going to give you this pause button over here. And what it's going to do is it's going to record whatever is currently on your view screen. And so any changes, anything that you have in your audio mixer, that's all going to be recorded for your video presentation. And then whenever you click this button again, it'll stop recording, it'll encode the video, and then it's going to save it where you installed the program. So let's go ahead and locate, or I'll show y'all how to change your recording location, and that'll be the last part of this video. So in the settings, what you want to do is you want to go to Output, and then you have this tab right here that says Recording. Click that. And then this is going to show you where your recording path is. So right here you see it's going to my H drive /streams. If you hit browse, you can change which location or which hard drive that the videos will be recorded to and where they'll be saved afterwards. And so that should get y'all started with being able to set up OBS and record any lecture presentations and utilize this software to record video onto your computer that you can then upload to D2L or share with your students, send it to YouTube, and then share the link with them that way. There's a lot of different ways that you can integrate this into your workflow to onboarding your class to an online environment. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to help you get set up, or if there's any specific tutorials on how to utilize this software that y'all would like me to create, I'd be more than happy to do so. So please let us know if there's any additional questions that you have, and we'd be happy to help. Thank you.